So second last time. So in combat sports, in fighting, the last two fights are the co-main event and the main event. So I'm glad to be on the co-main event of this evening. I'm so happy and honored. This is my second TED talk, and to be in the co-main event in the second attempt, not bad. Not bad at all. Alright, so the date I want to take you back to is 1st October 2020. I was standing in the middle of the Jiu-Jitsu arena of Abu Dhabi. Opposite me, my competitor was a guy from Colombia. He was a black cat commando. He was hired by the UAE government to be a mercenary. What does that mean? If tomorrow anybody attacks the country of UAE, the sheikhs are not going to fight. So they've hired these killers from South America to defend them in case somebody attacks. So here I am, an Indian guy, standing opposite a black cat commando from Colombia, who's a trained killer. He gets paid to break people's arms, legs, shoulders, choke people unconscious. He's getting paid for this. I'm flying from India, paying my own ticket, finding my own accommodation on makemytrip.com, and there I am, ready to fight this guy for a medal for India at the World Championship. What's wrong with me? And that's what I was thinking. I was standing there thinking, what is wrong with me? How did I get here? And to break that down for you guys, I really want to take you back a little bit, if you have a little bit of time. I was 12 years old and I was sent to a boarding school in Dehradun. I was sent not because I was a bad child or anything, it was just because my parents were busy with work and they thought it would be better if I go to a boarding school. So I went to an all-boys boarding school, Toon School in Dehradun. And there I realized, listen, I'm really not cut out for this. I'm not equipped to deal in a, handle myself in a boarding school, all boys, don't know anyone. So I decided, okay, I don't want to get bullied, number one. So what can I do here to protect myself from getting bullied? There was a boxing team. And somehow people didn't mess with the boxers. So I was like, okay, let's just start with that. Let's start off with joining these guys. They're kind of badasses. Let's join them, let's not get bullied. And then take everything from there. I joined the boxing team. The bullying never happened, thankfully. But what did happen was what I didn't intend to happen. I didn't realize being a part of the boxing team was not just the training. I also had to actually fight. I actually had to be in front of the entire school and fight a guy. And I'm a very chill guy. I'm a very laid back kind of a guy. So to hit someone, beat someone, it just wasn't me. It still is not me. So anyway, I went there, I trained hard, I had great technique. I lost. I was embarrassed in front of the entire school. I felt I let everyone down. I cried as well. But then again, I was 12 years old. I cried. It's okay. Men do cry. The problem happened because I lost again the year after. And then I lost again the year after. And then I lost again the year after. And now I'm 18. I have lost every single year in school from the age of 12 all the way to 17. Now I'm stressed. Now I'm really stressed. What do I do now? My reputation in school was he's a boxer. And I've lost every single year. If anyone's gone to the gym and you lifted heavy weights, something happens to your fingers, just below your fingers. It's called calluses. You form calluses. What happens is your skin is not ready to take on so much impact, so it becomes rough to take the impact. That's what happened with me. I kept losing. And I started to develop a callus. Internally, people would talk smack and they would, there would be haters and there would be doubters and all of that. And I knew going into my final year that I was an underdog. Nobody expected me to win. I'd lost 5 years in a row. And I thought, listen, it's my last year. Let's just give it everything you've got. It's the last year. I mean, I'm never going to box again. Let's give it everything I have. So generally in a boxing fight, people train for 4 to 6 weeks. I trained for 6 to 8 months. I trained every single day. I figured out my goal was to win in boxing, and I gave it everything I had. Every single thing I had. Every day in the morning, I woke up with boxing. I went for runs. Between classes, I would be shadow boxing. After class, I would be doing push-ups. I would play a sport and then do boxing afterwards. I was obsessed. My goal was to win in boxing, and when the day came and I had to fight, I won. I beat everybody. I became the best boxer in school. I set new records. But it didn't end there. I had worked so hard that callousing, which happened on my fingers internally, that didn't go away. I continued to train every single day. Even after school, I continued to train. I reached, after finishing school, I did my economics honors, and then I went to the UK. I got a scholarship. I did my master's degree in economics and strategy. No matter what I did, every day I would train. I would train like I had a fight coming up. I was training for something. What? I didn't know. I was just training. I was obsessed. I didn't know what was coming my way. In the UK, I got a job. I was in London. I got a full-time job. I was a brand manager. I'd finished job at 5 o'clock. I had a 9 to 5. 6 o'clock, I was in a gym training. I was in the most hardcore kickboxing Muay Thai gym in North London, where generally the audience was a very scary looking crowd. They were either bouncers or bodyguards, or they had like broken teeth and they had tattoos all over their face. That's the people I was training with. Why? I don't know why. Because the callousing that happened, I just couldn't shed it. I knew something was coming along. I knew to fuel myself, I needed to compete, I needed to train, I needed to prove something to people, to all those people who doubted me. Every time I entered a fight gym, they would look at me and they'll be like, "Oh, Indians fight? This is not a cricket stadium, why are you here?" Every single time I entered a fight gym, they looked at me with doubt. Every single time I went in, I had to prove a point. I had to prove that Indians can fight, man. Every single training session was a masterclass. That India, we're in Kurukshetra today. We are a land of warriors. Every single day I was making a point in the UK. Fast forward a few years, I was one of the best fighters. I had a full-time job, I was also fighting on the side. Around 2012, 2013, there were two things that came to my mind. One was the sport of mixed martial arts was growing. Cage fighting. I hope people are familiar with cage fighting. If not, you've seen the movie Sultan. Sultan goes inside a cage and he fights people in that movie. Salman Khan goes inside and he fights. That's the sport of mixed martial arts. So that's what I do. Or as I do it, I was doing it as a part-time thing back then. So I came back to India. I wanted to start and do two things. Number one, my goal was to put an Indian in the UFC. UFC is the pinnacle of combat sports. It's the world's largest organization where fights happen. No Indian had ever even come close to it. I wanted to put an Indian in the UFC. The second thing was, when I was in the UK, I saw constantly there were attacks against women. Generally there were assaults, there was rape, there was a bunch of things which really annoyed me when I was there. And I was like, I want to come back and I want to empower women. I want to teach them what I know. I want to show authentic fighting to our women so that they can defend themselves. So I came back and I did a number of workshops. What I was not ready for when I came back, I was not ready for, has anybody heard the crab example, what crabs do when you put them in a bucket? Okay. So what happens if you put a bunch of crabs in a bucket? There are enough of them. If they line up together, they'll all climb out. But what crabs actually do is, when one starts to climb up, other ones pull him down. So even though together if they work, they could get out, none of them come out of the bucket because they all keep pulling each other down. So when I came back, I thought I'll be coming in with a fresh breath of air. I'll be coming in with modern mixed martial arts, modern fighting, modern techniques. What I did instead was, I made enemies everywhere. All traditional martial arts dojos, banned me because I was a competitor. I was coming with something new. I was not teaching traditional karate or kung fu or any of that. We were actually fighters. They didn't like me, they banned me. The question now was, what do I do? I've left my job, I've spent all my money starting this cross-train fight club. I'm not getting any help from our community. What do I do? So I thought, okay, let's start with competing myself. Nobody can talk ill about you if you have a track record of delivering success. So I was like, okay, let's go and compete, let's go fight. Let's see what I've got. Let me back up what I'm teaching my students. So I started going to every single tournament there is in India where they were having a mixed martial arts or jiu-jitsu tournament. In 2015, I won my first national championship. I choked everyone unconscious. Within the time limit, in 5 minutes, I choked everyone unconscious. I strangled everybody. I won again in Bangalore. I won the national championship 10 times. I came back and I was like, okay, now I think we've proved a point. We're good, we're legit. No, the crabs were still alive. And the crabs were like, yeah, Sid's winning, but he's only winning in India. India, the level's not high. If he goes abroad, he's going to get killed. He's going to get destroyed. So I thought about it. I'm like, okay, good. Challenge accepted. Let's go out. Let's see what India's got. Let's put India on the map abroad. So I decided, let's go to Russia. Let's go to the hardest place you can go to. You know Khabib, you know Dagestan, you know the wrestling culture they have. I'm like, let's go test ourselves. People literally said, just book a one-way air. Why are you doing a return trip? One-way trip is enough. You're not coming back. So I went there, survived, became the first Indian ever to win against a Russian in Russia. Finished 4th overall. I came back, I proved a point. Indians can survive against even the Russians. We can do it. Came back and the crabs were ready. He came 4th, didn't get a medal. He's not good enough to get a medal. Alright, came back, I'm like, okay, challenge accepted. So then I booked myself for 2 big tournaments. One, I went to Taiwan. They were having the Asian Championship there. I went and I won gold in my weight class. And then I went to the UK because I was like, okay, Asia, okay, good, but Europe is where it's really at. I went to the UK. I won gold. I became a British champion in 2018, I think. I'm like, okay, now I'm coming back. Now at least the crabs will be quiet. No, I came back. Crabs were ready. Yeah, he's won tournaments here and there. He's never won a world championship. Alright, challenge accepted. The first time I went to the world championship, I didn't have a great experience. It was just after COVID, the first wave. I was a little overweight. I decided to compete in a weight class above mine. And I'm warming up, I'm there, I'm warming up, I'm ready. I'm supposed to fight this guy from Chechnya. Mikhail, I'm ready. I'm like, okay, who's this Mikhail? I'm looking around the warm-up area. I'm like, where's Mikhail at? And then I see a shadow loom before me. Where's Mikhail at? Right? And then I look and there he is. So my weight class, I generally fight at 70 kilos. That tournament, I decided I'll fight at 77. This guy was cutting from 95 kilos. 6'5", in fighting you cut weight. So he was cutting down. So when I looked at him, I'm like, okay, fun day coming ahead for me. Fight starts and I'm never really stressed about a fight. I'm more stressed right now talking to you guys than it is in the fight. I've trained so much. But yeah, fight starts, he grabs my collar, face plants me, I land on my face, lips bleeding, I come back up, face plants me again. Again I'm bleeding, come back up. I continue to fight though. It's a fight. And I'm an Indian, I've got whenever I fight I've got the Indian flag right here. It's for the pride. Yeah, I might not win this fight, I'm gonna make India proud though. Fought as hard as I could. Lost. But I fought the hardest I could. The guy, my students were in the audience, they came to compete also. They were super proud. Everybody watching back home, because it was streaming it back home, they were super proud. I came back and they were super happy with me. Coach, you've done an awesome job. The crabs though. The crabs were having a field day. See, we told you, can't win at the world level. Next tournament, I prepared, I got ready, cut down to my own weight class, 70 kilos, and I went and I won the first ever medal for India at the World Championship. 6 months later, they were having another world championship because it was COVID period timing. 2020 happened and then 21 happened twice. So they called me in, and that's where I was face to face with the Black Cat Commando, who had taken out everybody. He was destroying everybody. He had broken the Russian's arm, he had choked out the Brazilian guy, and now I was next on the menu. So I go there, and this is a question a lot of my students ask me as well. Is like, Coach, what do you do? Like, you know this guy is tremendous. He's got all this hype around him. What do you do? And that's about life. I mean, sometimes you face odds which seemingly are, you can't do anything about it. That's when you trust your own ability. You trust what you've done. If you put in the work, you've stayed hard enough, you can do great things. Believe in yourself. You have something in you that you have to believe. And I was one of the people who never believed in himself. Went in, and I was actually doing pretty well against this guy. I was winning 3-2 on points. I'm ahead on points. 30 seconds to go. I'm like, okay, I might actually be good. I might actually be winning this one. 3-2. Points at 3-2. I'm ahead. And all of a sudden the referee stops the fight and he does this gesture. This means remove his points. Remove Sid's points. I lose 2 points. And I don't know why my points have been removed. And now I'm behind on points. I'm losing 1-2 with like 30 seconds to go. I'm like, this is not fair. My students in the stands are like crying and howling. What is this? Why did they remove his points? We still don't know why they removed the points. They just did. 10 seconds to go. I'm like, I have to do something. The entire country is expecting me to win this medal. I have to do something. I have to pull something out of the hat. A rabbit out of the hat, really. And I remembered that big Russian guy. I remembered how he face planted me. And I'm like, why not? Let's try to face plant this guy as hard as I can with everything I have. So yeah, hand went to the collar, face planted this guy. Knocked him out. And in the process, when he was knocked out, I got my points. I won. That was my second world championship. I won that one. And yeah, when I came back and I had like now 2 world championships, I won 2 more going forward. The Crabs finally took it easy on me, but they went after my students. Like, now they can't say anything about me. I'm a 4-time world champion. They can't say anything. So students now, let's target the students. They went after the students. They're like, yeah, Sid's good, but what have CrossChain Fight Club students done? At the very same time, one of my students, Anshul Jubilee, he had won 5 fights in a row and became the best Indian fighter. And he got an offer to fight in a tournament organized by the UFC called Road to the UFC, where they would be picking up 8 fighters from Korea, Japan, Philippines, Indonesia, India being one. And he got a chance to take part in the tournament. And I'm glad, I don't know if you guys know Anshul Jubilee or not, but he won that tournament, made history, became the first Indian to ever win inside the UFC cage. He got a full-time contract, and I'm happy to tell you that since he's won, it's opened a new pathway. An entire generation of fighters now have an opportunity. They can now see, now they can go to their parents and say that, listen, we want to pursue this sport because Anshul Jubilee is there, Coach Sid is there, we're going to train with these guys and we'll make India proud. So what was the whole point of telling you this entire story? The whole point of telling you guys this whole story is that sometimes you see everybody following a certain road, nothing wrong with it. Take the road, if everyone's following it, it's fine. If that's what you are, that's who you are, it's fine. But everybody is unique, everybody is different, everybody is unique, everyone has something which makes them them. And I feel like, at least for me, I didn't take the path that everyone was taking. If I had just continued my 9-to-5 job, I would not be here. I would not be a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the first Indian competitive black belt. I would not be a world champion. An Indian would not be in the UFC. We would not have so many world championship medals had I just continued doing what I was doing. So, it's okay. If you want to carve out your own road, it's okay. You're going to be an underdog. There are going to be crabs who are going to try and pull you down. But trust me, if you follow that path, understand who you are, what you really want to do, follow that path, and even if you're an underdog, pursue it with everything you have, Because trust me, one day you will become a champion as well. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time.